You wake before the sun, not because you want to, no Spartan ever does, but because the thin wool blanket isn't enough to keep out the chill of the Laconian dawn. The stone beneath your back is as hard and familiar as the life you've led, and the sounds of the barracks around you are already stirring. Men snoring, someone coughing, the rustle of another rising, slow and silent, like a hunting cat. Your ribs ache from yesterday's training. Your right knuckle is raw. Your mind is clear. You rise without complaint, because complaint is for the helots. You are a Spartan, a homoi, a full citizen, and the day waits for no man, especially not one who lingers in bed. Your cloak is nearby, the familiar crimson wool frayed at the hem. You pull it over your shoulders and breathe in the scent of smoke and salt and sun-bleached leather. It smells like 100 mornings before. Spartan mornings do not change. Routine is sacred. Discipline is divine. You step outside into the crisp air. The courtyard is still shadowed, but the outline of Mount Taygetus looms behind the rooftops, jagged and dark. Somewhere in the city, a rooster calls. Somewhere else, a child cries. Neither is your concern. You join the others. Your Sisisha, your mess group, your brothers in everything but blood. Nicetas is already up, practicing cuts with a short xiphos in the dirt. He hasn't washed yet. No one has. Spartan men don't bother with such vanities before dawn. Dirt is honest. Sweat is proof. A trainer barks your name, then a command. You respond with a nod and move to the training ground. Your limbs still protest, but your body has long ago stopped caring about your comfort. You learned that at 7, in the Agoge, when you were beaten for flinching. You learned that again at 12, when you stole food and got caught. The scars remind you, pain is a lesson. Pain is a teacher. Pain is a friend. You form a line. The drills begin. First, shields up. Formation. Step, thrust, recover. Again, again. The man beside you falters, just slightly, and you feel your foot nudge his back heel, correcting him without words. Spartan training doesn't reward individual glory. It rewards unity, precision. The line must move as one. As sweat begins to bead on your brow, the sun finally crests the rooftops, spilling gold over the red-tiled buildings. Somewhere nearby, a flute plays a martial tune. It's meant to set the rhythm of your movements. You don't need it. Your body already knows the rhythm by heart. Then comes the sparring. Nicetas grins at you, already circling. He's faster. You're stronger. Your bruises haven't healed from yesterday's match, and he knows it. He's aiming for the same spot. That bastard. You grin back. The match begins. Dust flies. The world narrows to footwork, balance, weight, and pain. His elbow finds your ribs. Your knee finds his thigh. No death blows, just lessons. Just reminders that the enemy out there, the real one, will not pull punches. You end with a draw. No words. A nod. That's enough. By the time the horn blows to signal the end of morning drill, your arms are trembling and your mouth is dry. Still, no one drinks. Not yet. Not until the captain permits. This is Sparta. Thirst is just another enemy to conquer. You gather your things. Your sandals are worn. Your belt is cracked. But your blade is sharp and your body is ready. This was just the warm-up. The real day hasn't even begun. The sun is high now, and with it comes the heat, that dry southern kind that bakes the clay under your feet and makes. The olive trees shimmer in the distance like ghosts. The drills are over, but you're still on edge. Spartans don't truly relax. Not even at midday. Especially not at midday. You and your Sisisha gather under a modest awning beside the mess hall, if it can be called that. It's not a hall so much as a shaded stone square with benches and a low fire. There are no servants, No cooks bustling about with trays. You eat what you are given, and what you are given is as bare bones as your training. Black broth. You don't flinch as the pot is passed. You've tasted it every day of your adult life. Blood, vinegar, salt, and boiled pork. A punishment disguised as a meal. The younger men still gag when they first try it, but you've learned to drink it like wine. A Spartan does not eat for pleasure. He eats for strength. Nicetas slurps his portion noisily beside you. Tastes better when you're half dead, he mutters. You grunt in agreement. Talking is kept to a minimum. The mess is more than a meal. It's a ritual. You sit in a circle of equals, veterans all, and take in each other's silence like a second serving. Even the way you hold your bowl is judged. Discipline is everything, even here, especially here. But there is talk sometimes, controlled, sparse, meaningful. How's your wife? One man asks, not looking up. You hesitate. Your wife, chosen for you by elders, seen only on rare nights under moonlight, is dutiful, strong, quiet. That's all a Spartan could ask for. Still, the question hangs in the air like a spear above the throat. She's expecting, you answer at last. A pause. Good, comes the reply. We need more sons. No congratulations, no smiles, just approval. In Sparta, children aren't born for love. They're born for the state. The stronger, the better. And only if they're strong enough to survive the first inspection. You dip your bread, hard as stone, into the broth and chew slowly. Across the circle, an older man scratches at a long scar down his thigh. You remember the story. He got that cut at Thermopylae, one of the few who came back. Some say that makes him lucky. Others say it makes him unfortunate. The midday heat presses against you, but you sit still. Fidgeting is weakness. So is complaining. You've had sand in your sandals all morning and a stitch in your side since the second drill. But you show nothing. You drink your broth. You nod at the man beside you. That's how a Spartan endures. When the meal ends, bowls are cleaned with cold water and hands. There's no luxury of servants here. Each man takes care of his own gear. One's shield and spoon alike deserve respect. You make your way toward the assembly square. The Apella is meeting, a gathering of citizens, warriors like you, full-blooded sons of Sparta. There's a vote coming up, something about sending a small detachment to the northern border, where the Pyrrhoiko are grumbling again. You're not important enough to speak, but you will vote. Voting in Sparta is a strange ritual. No raised hands, no written names, just shouting. Whoever gets the loudest support wins. Some say it's primitive. But in a city that values strength and unity, it fits. The louder the will of the people, the clearer the decision. Spartans don't waste time with parchment. As the men gather, you stand among them. Tall, sun-scorched, arms crossed. A few have gray in their beards. Most are around your age. Veterans of a dozen campaigns, bearers of old injuries. There's a tension here that never fades. Even among brothers, there is competition. Not for wealth, not for power, but for honor. And honor is never fully won, only borrowed day by day. The vote is loud, predictable. The commander receives approval. Men will march north. You might be among them. You hope so. There is glory in battle, and even more important, clarity. Out there, among the blood and the dust, a Spartan's purpose feels pure. Here, at home, surrounded by laws and discipline, you sometimes forget what all the training is for. The assembly disperses. You remain a moment longer, watching the shadows grow longer on the stone. Your stomach growls, but that's normal. Hunger sharpens you, keeps your instincts alive. Somewhere in the distance, you hear the whistle of a young boy being struck. The agoge continues. New Spartans are being shaped. Screams now. Spears later. You turn toward the practice field again. The afternoon waits, and Sparta does not allow idleness. The heat thickens. It clings to your skin, seeps into your bones. There is no shade on the practice field now, only dust, sweat, and the sound of boys learning what it means to be a man. You've been assigned to watch over them today. The Paids, the boys of the Agoge. Some are 8, others closer to 16, and all of them look at you with a mix of awe and fear. Good. That means they're learning. They stand in formation, bare-chested, bare-footed, their thin limbs tense with anticipation. A trainer walks behind them with a stick, not a whip. That would be too easy. A stick is personal. You can feel every blow. And they do. One boy stumbles during a drill. Another fails to raise his shield in time. The third forgets to answer a question fast enough. Each mistake earns a strike. Each strike is accepted without a word. You remember when it was you in that line, when the sting of the stick taught you to keep your head up, your elbows tucked, your mind focused. You remember the hunger too, constant and deliberate. The boys are expected to steal food to survive. If they get caught, they're punished. Not for stealing, but for failing. That's the Spartan way. Excellence through cruelty. Mercy is for other cities. In Sparta, boys are carved into men with discipline and pain. And if they break, well, not everyone is meant to wear the crimson cloak. You walk the line slowly, eyes scanning their stances. One boy is trembling slightly. You stop beside him. He flinches. You say nothing, but you let your silence linger like a blade at his neck. The lesson is learned. After the drills, the boys are given a brief reprieve, just enough time to drink from a clay jar and eat a crust of barley bread, harder than the stones they sleep on. They volvic down like starved wolves. You're not much better. You lean against a pillar and chew your own bread slowly, eyes always scanning, ears open. Nicetas joins you with a sigh, his arms folded, forehead shining with sweat. They're softer than we were, he mutters. You snort. That's what the old men said about us too. He grins. Maybe they were right. You both fall silent again, watching the boys as they spar with wooden swords, tripping, bleeding, yelling, trying. It's brutal and clumsy, but there's promise in a few. Especially the tall one with the crooked nose. He's vicious. He fights like he's angry at the world. That's good. Sparta can use anger. Eventually, your duty ends. The younger trainers take over. You head toward the armory. Not the grand one used by the state, but the private store near your secession. You've been assigned to inspect weapons for the Northern Patrol, the one just voted on at the Apella. Inside, the air smells of oiled bronze, old sweat, and sharpened iron. Rows of round shields line the wall, all with the lambda painted in fading red. Spears lean in neat bundles. Short swords, chiffoi, rest in wooden racks. You run your hand along a hilt, balanced, well-maintained, good. A blacksmith nods at you from the corner, his beard singed and arms coated in soot. This one's new, he says, holding up a spear. Straight shaft, strong head. Won't snap unless you do something stupid. You take it, test the weight, twirl it once. Not bad. I rarely do anything stupid, you say. He laughs. Then maybe you're not a true Spartan. You smile despite yourself. A small one, but real. The inspection takes time. You mark a few blades for sharpening, discard a cracked scabbard, and make note of how many shields will need reforging. Even the tools of war need discipline. A dull spear is a dead man's prayer. As the sun dips lower, casting long shadows over the courtyard, you stretch your arms and roll your neck. The aches are louder now. One knee complains with every step. You ignore it. You always do. Pain is a whisper. Duty is a command. Nicetas is waiting for you at the edge of the field, already holding his shield. Captain says we drill again before dusk, he says. You groan. Didn't we already do that? He shrugs. Sparta forgets nothing. You take your place beside him, lift your shield, and feel the weight settle in like an old friend climbing onto your back. One more round, one more thrust, one more march. Because in Sparta, the day isn't done until the body breaks or the sun dies, whichever comes first. The sun finally begins to retreat behind the mountains, turning the sky a deep red, the same shade as your cloak, as your blood, as the banners carried into battle. Shadows stretch long across the earth like spears, and for the first time all day, there's a breeze. Dry, dusty, but real. You sit on the edge of the courtyard, armor stripped, tunic damp with sweat, muscles twitching with leftover effort. You're not young anymore. The joints remind you of that every day now. But you're not old either, not by Spartan standards. You still move like a warrior. You still dream like one. Tonight, you won't sleep in the barracks. You've earned a brief leave to visit your home, such as it is. Not a place of warmth or comfort. No garden, no cushions. Just a stone floor, a rough blanket, and a woman you barely know, yet are bound to by law, by duty, by Sparta itself. Your wife meets you at the door. She doesn't smile. She never does. Spartan women are not trained to please. They are trained to bear strong children and speak their minds like blades. She is tall, sharp-eyed, her hair braided back with bone pins. You're limping, she says, by way of greeting. You shrug. Training. She nods, turns, and walks inside. You follow. There's no fire, just an oil lamp casting a small circle of gold on the wall. The silence between you is familiar, comfortable, even. Words are rare in a Spartan home. What needs saying is said quickly. What doesn't is left in silence. She hands you a bowl, not black broth this time. Lentils, onions, olive paste, almost soft food, a luxury. You eat in silence while she sharpens a spindle. The sound of the stone scraping is rhythmic, like the hiss of a blade leaving a sheath. In this house, even the quiet is armed. Later, you lie on the stone floor, staring up at the wooden beams above. Sleep does not come easily. It never does. Your body is tired, but your mind, that traitor, keeps moving. You remember the first time you saw combat. You were 17, north of Arcadia. The air smelled of pine and blood and fear. You remember how your hand trembled before the first charge, how the man beside you pissed himself, how the first kill made you feel nothing at all. Not pride, not sorrow, just surprise. That it was so quick, that death came so quietly. The next one took longer. You remember the way your blade stuck in his ribs, the sound he made, not like in the songs, not like a hero, just wet. You shift on the stone. Your wife breathes steadily beside you. She never touches you unless it's time to try for a child. Even then, she does it like she's helping load a cart, with purpose, with efficiency, with pride. She once told you, "I do not love you, but I respect what Sparta made of you." It was the kindest thing anyone said to you in years. You hear the distant sound of boys shouting, late drills at the agoge, or punishment. It's hard to tell which. The sounds blend together over time. Pain, effort, discipline. You close your eyes and try to sleep. But sleep in Sparta is a shallow thing. Light, alert, ready like a sword resting on a finger. Just before your mind slips into unconsciousness, you remember your son, the one you lost. He was born weak, his leg bent at the wrong angle. The elders said nothing at first, just carried him up the hill. You weren't allowed to follow. You never saw where they buried him. No one ever speaks of the infants who don't pass inspection. That's the way it is. That's the way it has always been. But sometimes, in the dark, you see his face. Not what it was, but what it could have been. You open your eyes. The oil lamp has burned out. The night is complete. Tomorrow, there might be war, or another vote, or more training, or nothing at all. But tonight, there is only stillness. And Sparta, quiet, cold, eternal, sleeps beside you. You return to the barracks before midnight. No one told you to. They never do. But some pull is stronger than comfort. Home is stone and silence, but the barracks are fire and steel. Here, men breathe in rhythm. They snore like wolves and dream like soldiers. They reek of ash and blood and years. Niketus is there, seated near the low hearth. His armor hangs behind him, dark with use, the crest of his helmet worn down to bristles. He's rubbing oil into his shield strap, even now, even in the dark, even half asleep. You sit beside him without a word. He doesn't look up. He doesn't need to. He passes you a cup, cheap wine mixed with water. Spartan wine. No luxury. Just enough to kill the taste of the day. You drink. Let the warmth spread through the cracks in your chest, filling the hollow places pain forgot. Your legs are stiff. Your shoulders throb. But your hand is steady. That still counts for something. Around you, a few men are murmuring. Quiet laughter. Someone telling a story about a skirmish near the border. Someone else boasting of a scar. It's not loud, never loud, but it's there. That thin, brittle thread of humanity Spartans hide between the cracks of their armor. Niketus glances sideways. Captain says we leave in 2 days. You nod, not surprised. You knew it would come. North? He nods. You both drink again. There's no excitement, no fear. Just the familiar sense of momentum, like a spear already in flight. Once a campaign is declared, you surrender to it. You've done it before. You'll do it again. One day, it'll be your last. You don't know which. You don't ask. Nearby, a younger soldier shifts in his sleep, muttering, maybe dreaming of glory, or dying. In Sparta, there's not much difference. Niketus leans forward, feeding the fire a bit more olive wood. The flames catch, casting flickering shapes on the walls. In their light, the faces around you look older than they are. Hard men made harder by duty. He speaks again, quietly. Do you ever wonder what it would have been like to be born somewhere else? You turn to him, not angry, just surprised. Like where? He shrugs. Anywhere. Athens, maybe, or out west. A farmer, a sailor, a man who sleeps in, one with soft hands. You snort. You'd be dead before 30. Probably. Silence again. The fire cracks. You stare into it. You don't often ask yourself, what could have been? Sparta leaves no room for such questions. But tonight, with the wine warming your blood and the war waiting on the horizon, you let yourself wonder, just briefly, would you have been softer? Would you have been free? Then you remember the boy in the agoge who flinched when you stood behind him. You remember the weight of your shield, the heat of your blade, the brother beside you, still awake, still sharpening leather. And you know the answer, no. You were born Spartan. You were forged, not raised, shaped like iron in a furnace that never cools. Every blow, every wound, every scar, a signature of the city on your skin. You didn't choose this life, but it chose you. And somehow, that's enough. Niketus leans back, eyes half-lidded. If I fall up north, he says, don't let them say I died for honor. You arch an eyebrow. Say I died tired and ready. You raise your cup slightly. Fair enough. The fire burns low. One by one, the men drift into sleep, some with hands on hilts, some clutching dreams. You lie back on the stone, your cloak over your shoulders, your shield within reach. You will rest, lightly, briefly, like a man keeping vigil for his own life. Because in Sparta, even in sleep, you remain a soldier. And even in peace, you prepare for war.